Welcome back to AM Northwest. Our next guest loves a good thriller and a true crime, and both have inspired her career. She joins us today to share a few of her favorite podcasts. We welcome New York Times bestselling author and Portland treasure, Chelsea Cain. Chelsea, so good to see you.
Hi, Ellen.
Okay, so this segment, the idea about true crime podcasts,
yes,
came about because you share with me your recommendations for.
I am your personal true podcast guru.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
Yeah.
Why do you think women especially love true crime? Like, what is that about?
This is this essential question.
Yeah.
And I think there are a couple of reasons. One, I think we're brave.
Yes. Yes, we are. We're brave.
And two, I think we like the practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Figuring out if we could get in or out of that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And how does she get away, or how doesn't she? And
right.
like, should we get pulled backwards into a van in a parking garage?
Right.
What works and what doesn't?
Right. I think when you listen, does it give you ideas for your, your thrillers?
It does.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Like sometimes they're just like, you can't really make the good stuff up, right?
Right.
So with a true crime, there will be some component sometimes where I'm like, I have to write that down.
Yeah, you have to put it in.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with some of your recommendations for true crime podcasts. The first one is Casefile.
Casefile. Oh, so
why do you like this one?
Okay, one, it's got this Australian.
You love Australians.
And it's a single person as opposed to like a bantery two-person podcast.
Yeah.
And it's very well researched. It's very well told narratively. It comes out on Saturdays, and so like every Saturday I wake up.
You're waiting for
I
it.
do, like the first thing I think about when I open my eyes is, it's Casefile day. I get to listen to this terrible crime. Like really terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those where they don't spare the details.
Oh, they
right?
tell you
Which
everything.
I really like. And now they're
Now
on.
in Australia, do they have a lot of crime?
Oh, well.
Okay, they do. Okay.
It's something people really need to be aware of.
Yeah. Okay.
It is like some really great crime.
Yeah.
You know, if you're into crime,
right?
Australia
like we are.
is a good place. Yeah. To hit.
Who the hell is Hamish?
Yeah, another Australian podcast.
Okay.
In fact, produced by the Australian newspaper in Australia, and that is it's not murdery. So
right.
if that's not your jam, if you're a little lily-livered, it's a great podcast about a con man. And it's funny and surprising and really engrossing.
Yeah, I find those con man stories to be just absolutely fascinating. Like how they get away, how people get caught up believing them.
Yeah,
right.
And it's such a character study, not only like of the con man, but of the people who get kind of pulled into their web.
Caught up in it.
So if you like Dirty John, which was very popular.
Oh my gosh, that was so good.
This is similar to that.
Okay, Teacher's Pet.
Yeah. Another Australian podcast.
Look at you. You have an issue.
I might have an issue.
You might need a 12-step program.
I might. Teacher's Pet is a great podcast, and I urge anyone who hasn't heard of it and is interested to just listen and to not Google it.
Yeah.
Because it is one of those podcasts where the podcaster solves the murder.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like like over time, like actually solves in real time the case. And it's a cold case, and so like it's incredibly thrilling to be a part of that, and it's also really satisfying because this is this case that has like languished for so many years, and so there's like a wonderful sense of justice to it.
Oh,
I really recommend that one.
Okay, Scamanda, the one I'm listening to now, is the one you recommended. So good, but tell our viewers about Scamanda. It's like hard to believe, really.
Yeah, so like Amanda was a young woman who faked cancer.
Yeah.
And not just fake cancer, but stage 4 cancer for many, many, many years. Faked all kinds of experimental procedures.
She blogged about it, got everybody involved.
She got lots of people to donate money to her.
Thousands upon thousands upon thousands.
And mostly she got a whole lot of support.
Right.
Which is, I think, what she really was looking for.
That attention.
Yeah, like that was her particular pathology. But it like a fascinating story, again, about a particular personality type and about all of the people who were betrayed by her, and then the people who
an entire church was betrayed.
A mega church.
Yeah.
And then the people who slowly started to like untangle it and question it. And at first you question that, like, how do you question somebody? Like, do you really have cancer?
Yeah.
Like, right.
Would
Like,
you
that's
ever
a
do
bold thing to say.
Right.
And so it was, you know, like it took years for people to slowly start to like figure out that she was a bald-faced liar.
Right.
And also HIPAA, right? So like we couldn't get her medical records. But yeah, like a really interesting story.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
They Walk Among Us?
Well, there's They Walk Among Us, and then there's They Walk Among Us America.
Okay.
So there's two, and they're British podcasts about like single crime. So each episode is a terrible crime that, you know, is solved. Like there's a single arc as opposed to like listening to many episodes.
Right, like Scamanda is one case, a long series, and then this is multiple cases, a different case each time.
Yeah.
What's interesting too to me, in some podcasts, they use like the 911 calls that I love hearing, honestly,
love those too.
and the true interrogation that's fascinating to listen to.
Well, there is a big split in the true crime podcast community.
Controversy.
About that. And you've just come out strongly on one side, Helen.
Yeah. I have?
Yeah. Expect your email to light up.
Okay.
Because there are people who like use the 911 like tapes, and the people who don't, and the people who don't claim that they're exploitive, right? Because you were listening to somebody
in their worst moment.
In their worst, like literally, right? Worst day, worst moment.
Yeah.
And then there are the people who use them who are saying, this is part of the story, and it's no more exploitive than what you're doing over here. Like you can't claim a moral high ground just because you're not using the tape.
Yeah.
And man, like that's all public record, right? And to listen to the interrogation tapes and to 911 calls, like there's nothing that gets you closer, like narratively, to really, you know, understand viscerally the emotional kind of moment that is happening.
One last one before we run out of time. Tom Brown's Body.
Yeah, so that is Texas Monthly, which does a bunch of true crime podcasts and also long form in their magazine. Really, really good. Skip Hollingsworth, who's kind of a true crime daddy. I just made that up. Yeah. I hope it's not offensive. And it's a wonderful story about a kid who, you know, like a 19-year-old who is found dead, and the sort of story of the town struggling to figure out what happened. Yeah. So it is as much a story of the town as it is about the death.
Wow.
This little town in Texas. Incredible. Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to put the list, including one bonus that we didn't get to, and we have to have you back next time to have you tell us more, because I'm sure you'll be listening to more.
Oh yeah.
Chelsea, thank
10
you
hours
so
a day.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.